stupid one. I'll just show you what was the problem. Mm, okay, yesterday in our program, what I was doing is, yeah, I was suspecting that it was some mistake. Okay, so yesterday, um, all the if conditions were, I was trying to equate it with unassigned space val, and then what I did was I looked at this unassigned. Then it was only unassigned. Then I was thinking, where did this val come from? So in one of our print statements, we had put unless state name and then val. So yeah, here. So these two are getting concatenated, and I was searching this. So that was the mistake. So and the problem that we were facing is, just to revise what we were doing. We were trying to generate an Excel sheet out of the input data, that is, which is nothing but from this API. All the states have a certain structure. If you look at Andaman Nicobars and then uh, any other state, what it has is, it has state, and then this data, and then Nicobars here. So this is still fine. So there was one more element, which was something like unattended, something like that. Okay, so the idea was, we wanted to take this out. So there are like several solutions. Um, One of the solutions is to just take that entry out, or just by popping out, or else we have to write if else condition, if conditions to just to skip that. And then another solution is to write something like this. Make sure that whatever we are processing is a dictionary. So each instance is a inbuilt function, which will take any variable, and then it will equate whether this is of this type. So it will return true if it is of the that type. Okay. So we should make sure that, so that is one more solution. So there are several things. So the idea is to clean up the input data. Okay, so that is what we are doing, and we were facing some problems. That was because of the spelling mistake. Actually, okay, this val came out of our. So I copy pasted the print statement here, and then this was the state name, and entire thing I copy pasted and put it in the if condition. Okay, so that was the problem. So anyways, what we did was, yesterday, so that was the problem. So we will just uh, start with today's session, and then we will look at also the Excel that we generated, and then we'll go back to our main function, where we wrote sequentially, that is from the skeletal code. We'll go back to that and just see whether the things are working, because we did the extract news, and we extracted out of JSON we created a dictionary. So we have to make sure that that is not broken. Okay, so let us get started with that. So let us go to the main program, so where we are triggering. So let us go to trigger, so where we wrote all the skeleton code. So this is the skeleton code that we wrote. We did input data, we got the data, so that is fine. And we also did get news, and which was extracting news from Deccan Herald, and it was forming a dictionary having keys as hyperlinks and then the text as headlines. Okay, so I'm just commenting this. That is because it takes time to go and fetch the data, and it will take some of maybe the 30 seconds or so. So I'll just comment this for now because we have to proceed. It will consume 30 seconds every time we run this. So yesterday we were trying to fit this in. So if we go to this function, what we are doing is we this is a function which is defined in this module. So this module we had written in the while creating skeletal code, and within this what we are trying to do is yesterday we were struggling with this particular function. So that is where the error is coming. So we are passing the states. The input is the state name and the dictionary. Where is the dictionary coming from? That dictionary is coming from here, input data. So first step was to extract data. So that input data, this is the input data for that function, this JSON, and we have converted that into dictionary input data, and this input is sent to this particular module. So this particular module takes that input data as some other variable, and then this is just a check, checking that if it is empty or not. So if it is not a dictionary, then it is not expected, so we just return it saying that it's not a dictionary. This is just a defensive check. Then what we are trying to do is we are going to traverse through all the states, and we are going to extract the total number of active cases. So that is what this function did. So yesterday we were working on this. So we put this in a loop. That is because if you do the input data dot keys, you will get all the state names. So you'll get all the state names. So once you get all the state names, you have to traverse through all of the states and then pass that state name here. And anyways, we have data incoming here from this line, and if we pass this to, what it does is it matches the state and it gives the total number of cases. That's all. So after getting all this, what we're trying to do, yesterday we were talking about the about a basket. So this is just similar to that. We have a basket, and then on top of that basket we are just cherry picking each one element, and we are just updating that. So this this final map will contain data of, it will contain a state name as a dictionary, and then it will have a value as the total number of cases. So that is what we are doing here. Okay, so this part is the actual creation of Excel sheet. So we are just specifying a file name. So this function is the one who creates the Excel sheet, actual Excel sheet. So for him it is just that he is not worried about all the processing. He's just taking input as a dictionary, so the dictionary that we created in previous class, and then he takes that, and we saw that how an Excel sheet is organized in terms of object-oriented programming. So we have a workbook, and inside that workbook we added a sheet. So workbook is a bigger object, and worksheet is part of that workbook. And then within that worksheet, we are going to write to certain column and row. So this is what we did. So first row, first column will have state, and the next to that there will be a column called as active, and within each of those active two columns we are going to write line by line. So this is for state name to get that, and this is for the next column, that is the active cases. So this is what we are doing. So enumeration is actually a function which takes in some data type, and then it enumerates. So I'll just show you how enumeration works. So let us consider something like A, B, and C. Okay. So this is just a list which contains three strings. So when we do enumerate of x, what it does is let me convert that into not this. It creates what do we call an iterator which will enumerate all of these objects. So this is also an object. Inside that object we have enumerated object of x. So in order to extract that, we can either do something like for I in enumerate x. Okay. So print I think it okay. So what we're trying to do is we are just assigning numbers serially, that's all. So you can see the output that it returns returns a tuple. How is it doing? So it is taking this any data type, any iterable data type. That means you should be able to iterate. So that kind of data type will just pass to this enumeration function. So it just gives a number. Similarly, let us do it for I'll just change x to a dictionary. So let us see how it looks. So in dictionary we'll just put this is the key and this is the value. So it has 3 items. So x is a dictionary now. So I overwrite that list into this so that I can use the same enumeration. So let us look at so it just it has enumerated the keys. In fact, what you can do is you can either do it something like now we are enumerating an object. That object is nothing but a dictionary. So you can in fact enumerate the keys and items. For example, I'll just do items. Okay. So how it looks is like this spelling mistake, items, what is it happening, unexpected indentation. Okay, now you can see that I have enumerated the items. So dictionaries, if you do just dictionary dot items, what it will give, it will give the key and the value in tuple. So that is the internal function of dictionary. So I'm going to enumerate it, the entire key and value. So when I do that, it will give it is just like we are assigning numbers in an Excel sheet. For example, I can take this particular Excel sheet, okay, and then what I can do is okay, so imagine that we have some data. Okay, so this enumeration is nothing but the same thing. Like if we have something like this, manually what we can do is we can do 1 2 and then we can select this and we can simply drag it. Now you have some numbers, right? So this is nothing but enumeration. That means we are enumerating the states with numbers, so that why do we do that? So that we have mapping to the state. I can say, okay, look at 7th state. So obviously look at 7th state and you look at Chandigarh. Okay, that is Chandigarh. So look at 11th state. This is Goa. So we are converting some data into a number so that we can refer it. So in our case, what we are trying to do is we are trying to enumerate. The reason that we are trying to enumerate is because the function which is used to write rows and columns, it doesn't take the actual text, or it doesn't take A, B, C as column names, it takes numbers. So that is the reason we need to have numbers instead of A, B, C. So that is why we are trying to enumerate it. So once we enumerate it, it starts from row 0, and then enumeration also you can do something like you can enumerate items into say I can start with 3 as well. So it means that you can see that we now it is starting from 3, so you can also specify the beginning number, right? Okay. So that is about enumeration. So the reason we do enumeration is because this particular function takes only the numbers, so 0 integers. So we do not have integers as of now, so we are converting the elements into enumerated way so that we have numbers and we are writing it. Okay. So that is what we did, and this is just a simple function. Actually there are only few functions. One is you create a workbook. Here you create a workbook. So this is all in, actually this is not in until this point, this is still in the RAM. So once you call this function save, only then it goes to hard disk and gets saved. Okay. So that is about enumeration, why you are doing enumeration. So such things you can we learn it like in the not in a formal way, because you cannot learn about all the built-in functions and remember it. So as and when we require, when we stuck with the problem, then we kind of find a solution for that. So this is one of the ways. Okay, so that is about that. Let us try to run the main function. Okay, main function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this file. Okay, so I'm going to delete this file as well, so that let us verify if we are creating Excel sheet. Okay. So trigger, so just remember that we are calling main function. So in fact we can call trigger directly, but just for our understanding, so main is the one which triggers the function. In fact you can directly call trigger as well here, so, just to have one more control, so that this module has some responsibility. Okay, so that is about it. So let us go to trigger function. So if you just press control and then click, it will direct to the definition of the function. Okay, that is the shortcut. So we got input data. Input data is fine, and then we are passing input data into to create XLS report. So this is still the same skeletal code that we wrote in the previous class. So I'll just comment this so that this doesn't cause any problem, because I have written some code in there already. Okay, what is this? Line number 13, generate user report. Did I do anything here? Subscription data is equal to, I'm not even calling this optimization. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Where is this data coming in from? Okay, I'll pass this as data. Okay, and then this is empty data for now, and then go back here and that is for today's class. Let me run that. Reports 25. Yeah, okay. Anyways, this part is done. Okay, this is what we are going to do it in today's agenda. So now it is created the Excel sheet, but traceback is here. We will fix that. So let us go and look at the print statements here. Okay, this print statement is coming from somewhere else, so we'll ignore that. So our print statements are still the same. So getting input from API data, API, and then ignore those lines, and then generating user report and generating subscriber data. Okay, so we have already generated the Excel sheet. So there is some problem in user report, that will fix it in a while. So let us go back to our folder. Now you can see that I had deleted the file. So now its file is created. So this is how it should look, and yeah. In fact, this is like basic generation of Excel. In fact, you can do a lot of formatting in this. You can do all the operations that we do, like applying filters here, and then making it bold, and specifying certain text color, like this. All this you can control in the program. So you can refer the library and search Google something like, okay, Excel WT formatting. So you get a lot of documentation regarding that. So you can stylize your Excel sheet. So you can generate nice reports. What you do is you can create all the styles in settings in a separate dictionary or a separate JSON file, and use that stylized settings in your Excel sheet. So that is about that is to explore more. That depends on what you're doing. So those are the things additionally you can do to beautify the reports. Okay, so now let us get back to our subscription data here. So what we are going to do is we are going to we have subscription data, that means people who wanted to subscribe to certain states. For example, I am interested in Karnataka and Kerala, maybe you are interested in Andhra Pradesh and few other states. You are going to ask the service that we are trying to do, okay, I'm interested in these states, please send me the mail about this state specifically, and then with attachment of a whole country, and then some news regarding COVID. Okay, so that was our requirement. So let's just go here. We'll start from here. So this was our skeletal code. So we'll just jump here, and okay. So what I have done is it's the same. I've just written a loop. Nothing fancy here. I have just written a loop. So in the loop, what we're doing is, in subscription data, you can see here, it's the same code, similar code that we wrote in input. So in input, if you see input parse input, so we're just converting, getting the data, and then we're converting to JSON. So in our this particular example, what we're trying to do is, we have a JSON data already here. So these are some email IDs. So I have just put some email IDs. So this is the subscription. So I said we'll hard code this. So typically we will have a GUI taking email ID, and then maybe he will click Karnataka and Kerala and all these things. But that will be like web related items, which we don't have to cover in this, because that requires a lot of other tools such as Django, Flask, or something else. Okay, so that itself will take maybe a week or so. But okay, so idea is to hard code this input. So imagine that this input is gathered from a web page, and then this is the input that you have gathered. So given that gmail.com is interested in Karnataka, and then maybe Somshekhar is interested in these three states, Karnataka, Kerala, and Andhra Pradesh. So after this, what I am trying to do is, this is the input. I am just going to read that input, open that file, and make that as a dictionary. That's all. It's a JSON file, so I'm just loading that into a JSON library, and then this will give me a dictionary, so that now I can do something like, let me show you here. So what I'm trying to do is okay, it's better to type than copy paste. Okay, so I'm simply reading that file. So this file is uh, here. Okay, so because I'm executing from the project folder, so inside the project folder there is subs. So I need to specify where is that from relative to that subs, and then inside subs there is this. Okay, so that is about it. So now if you do fd, this is the file, so it gives, okay, this is fd is nothing but file descriptor. It is pointing to the beginning location of the file that is located on the hard disk. Okay, so after that I'll just simply do json.load fd, load fd. So it will give me, it will convert this JSON into a dictionary. So how do I know it's a dictionary? So I just store that into a variable. What happened? Did I override? Expected values. And just now it worked. What is happening? Where is subs data? Okay, this is subscription data. That's correct. Word is crying at line number 1, column number 1. What is the file name? Let me read it again. Okay, this is C. Let me do it once more. Okay, second time if I do, there is some problem. Okay, this is crazy. There is one more problem. Is it loading and JSON read mode? We open it again. Okay, we will debug that later. So this is one of the, I think what is happening here is if I load it twice, something is happening. We'll figure that out. So let's not waste time. So I just loaded it again, and I just wanted to show the dictionary. Okay, so this is the dictionary because now it's in the temporary variable. We don't have to worry about that. So maybe it is getting that variable is getting vanished or something like that. So we'll see that. I'll tell that tomorrow. Okay, so once we got it in dictionary, so now what I can do is to find out what are the interested state names for a particular person. So let me take this guy. So if I simply do access the key, and then I'll get the state names. So the idea is finally this is the to address. So one of the two addresses, and then this is the input to one of our modules which will extract. So we have already written a function, if you remember. So same function we are using it in here. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are going to get total number of cases given a state name. So so for this guy, so finally he should be able to see Karnataka has this many states, and only this information, these three information in his mail content. So we are going to use the same function. So we are making use of this function in two places. One is to generate the report, as well as to generate user report as well. Okay, so if I simply say give this so what I can do is I can iterate through this dictionary, and then go to each of the mail IDs and collect make a list of states, and then the active number of cases for now, and then we can also keep a key as the email ID. So the final dictionary would look like something. So I'll show you, in the program. So we are trying to focus here. So we are almost near. So we have done all the above things. So we're just here. So let us go there. So what should this take? This should take actually input data. That is because it should have access to the data which is here. So it should access data, have access to this. That is because we want to specifically extract the data out of a particular state. So let me quit this. So let me try to see what is inside this. So this is a simple loop. So I'm simply calling the same finally calling the same function which we used in generate a report XLS as well. So here what I'm doing is I'm simply traversing through the subscription data item, so which we did here. So this is what we did. The dictionary called as S. So we are iterating through this. That's here. So once I iterate through this, I get mail ID and the list of states. So now this piece of code is exactly same as the piece of code that we wrote in here, in this. So this is the same as this, right? So that is our this is just to extract the data out of a particular state. Okay. So now now I have extracted data from particular state file. So I need to map it to the email IDs. Okay. So that is what we're trying to do here. So let me just explain it on board. So what we're trying to do here, so input is to this particular entire function. It takes in the dictionary that we have gotten from the main API, so input API. So this is required to extract particular states information. So this is the input. So this input must be somehow matched with the input that is coming from the subscription data, and this is API data. Okay. So API data has complete JSON. So for a given state, I need to have say 33, some 22. This is the bracket. Okay. So for a given state, there are several information. So our function, there is a function that we have written. That function is nothing but this particular guy, get total number of cases, this guy. So his job is to go to this API. For a given state, it will simply return an element. So this has actually a lot of elements, unwanted. We do not want all of them, so we are just extracting this particular element. Okay. So this is a nested dictionary. So out of that, we are going to get this. So after getting this, I should map it to subscription data. So that is our motive. So subscription data has email, and the list of states he is interested. So Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, or Kerala, like this. Okay. like this. So these are the list of states. So I need to match, iterate through all of the emails. So there are several nodes. So all of the email IDs, and get this particular list of states, and then ask this guy, that is get total cases, to go and fetch that. Okay. So finally, what I will have is something like this. So finally, what I'll have out of this match the following kind of exercise, I will have a dictionary. So why the color is not changed? I will have a dictionary, something like this. So this dictionary will contain email ID, and then if you see here, state name, another sub dictionary. It will have state name, Karnataka or Kerala, whatever it is. So then some numbers. So I'll have maps, a map inside a map. So now I have created nested maps. So what is the advantage, or what is our final goal? Final goal is to take this entire dictionary. So this complete dictionary, what I can do is I can take this dictionary, and while sending mail, I can simply iterate through this email, and while sending mail, I'll send something like for in this email ID. In the items, I'll get email ID and the sub dictionary, which will contain the state name as well as the number, that is the active cases. And I can simply write that, okay, send in a loop, send for this guy, send this information. So that is my final intention. So in a for loop, I'm going to send a mail. So that is why I am preparing the data structures from the raw types. That means we got from API, and then once we got from subscription data. So these two items I'm going to take. They're in a different format. So I'm converting that into format that is usable, or that is manageable for the API that we are going to use to send mail. So that is the final intention. So that is why I'm making this particular data structure. Okay. So that is about it. So any questions here, because it gets confusing, because there is map inside map, and then we are getting data from somewhere else. So any questions, please ask me. Okay. So I just exited out of this. So that is what I'm just doing. It is all the same code. I have just written a for loop on top of it. That's all. It's the same code. I just wrote for loop on top of this. Okay. So let us try to run this. Maybe there are some errors. Let's see. Permission denied. Okay, one more error. So this you'll face. So if you have opened the file and then you're trying to do some operations, that means as in the first class I was telling, right? So operating system takes care of all this problems. For example, I am reading the file, so someone else is writing the file, so which is not right. That is because there will be inconsistency in my reading. So if I insert something else, if I allow it something else, something like this, so it doesn't make any sense for me as a reader. So that is why operating system says that, okay, once it is opened for a particular operation, so operating system locks it. So and then once you close it, the logs get released, and then it is available for others to use it. Okay. Sometimes it's difficult to find out. Maybe what happens is you have opened it using another program. Now I have double clicked and it has opened. Now it is also possible that from a program you have opened it. You have written a Python script, and then it is running in a loop. It is still open. FD is open, that is file script is open, and in using another program you are trying to open it, so you'll get the same error saying that okay, permission array is opened, so you cannot do that. Okay. There is one variable which I defined for dash line. Okay, so if you look at it, so our match the following exercise, right? So one is your API data, another is your subscription data. So I'm trying to take these two items and then I'm going to weave it together and extract the data. So that data is nothing but this. So let me just put it in line by line so that it is properly visible. Okay, so for in k, usually we use k for keys and v for values, so that's in this variable. So items, okay, and just let it be here so that you know. Print k and something like this, some arrow mark, so that we know what we are printing. So let us try to print. Okay, now you can see that we have just printed this value. So our final aim was to put this in a map. So that map is nothing but here. This is the map, nothing but this one. So the same map I'm just printing it line by line so that it is readable for and easy to explain. So this is the key and this is the value that I am expecting. That means while sending mail I can simply iterate through the entire mail and I can say that okay, Digant is interested in Karnataka and this is the information that I need to send. So this is the information that will be given to the mail service. So that there is someone called as Sunil. So he is interested in Karnataka. Okay, this is Karnataka and he is also interested in Kerala. So Kerala active cases are a little strange. Okay, maybe government is working too hard. Okay, so we have a list of small dictionaries. That means we have a dictionary and inside dictionary we have keys as email IDs, and inside dictionary there is a list, and inside list there is dictionary. So this is a mixed data type. That means I was telling in one of the data types classes that you can mix and match any number of data types, right? So you can have maps of lists of maps and things like that. So in this case we have dictionary of list of maps. So there are three levels: a dictionary, which are having list, and then inside list there are dictionaries. Okay, so that is about it. So we have actually seen the nested data types already. For example, this is a dictionary, a big dictionary, and inside this there is a smaller dictionary. This one, this complete thing, and then again inside that there is another small dictionary. So this one. So we have seen nested dictionary. So this is a nested data type. So dictionary, inside dictionary there is a list and then inside list there is a dictionary. Okay. So you got the idea, right? So the idea is to prepare the content for the mail. So let us now go back to our program. So I'll just minimize this. So this is the same code. So I didn't write it from scratch because I just copy pasted this particular thing and put a for loop. That's all. There is nothing special that we are doing. So we are just iterating through the subscription mail. Okay. So that is about it. So we saw two errors. One is like when you open a file and then it will complain permission denied error. So keep this in mind, and you can refer the video and get to know about it. And then you can once you get the error, you just Google it and find out why it is coming. So it will be usually it will be obvious. Sometimes it won't be obvious. Say for example, you're doing a database commit operations, and they're a little bit strange for us because we have not worked on databases. Then you look up Google and find out what it actually means. Okay, so this kind of things you can do later. So let us get back to our main program. Where is our main program? And then the reports. Okay, here. So we generated Excel sheet successfully, and also we generated user report. So this is the user report. That means this content is going to go in each of the mails. Okay, so that means Sampath Kumar MR he won't get the news of someone else's. So if he is interested in Karnataka, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh, he should only get this. So he should not get something else. Okay, that is the idea. So that we have created a table. So let us just get this information into a variable here, so that it is easy to send to the next module here. Okay, so I'll just have it as user state info. So just a variable name. So usually you can we tend to, while programming, we tend to give variable names, something like A1, L1, or something like some strange variable names, which are of course allowed by Python. But just remember that when we are trying to write program, we are going to revisit this, and it is difficult if you write something like L1. You will be thinking and scratching your head. Oh, yesterday I wrote L1. So what is this L1? So if you have crossed 1 week, that means the whole entire thing, except the logic, you won't remember anything. So you have to write variable names in such a way that that it looks like proper text. So since space is not allowed, so once you give a space, it becomes a separate statement or a variable. So that is why we use underscores to separate between the words. So user state info. Now once I get back after a week, then I know that okay, this guy is returning something related to user state info. Okay, so that is the importance of using the right variables. So that is about it. So there are several conventions. We will look at them. So what I'll do is I will just uncomment this generate subscription data. So okay, user report. So let me get here user report, get subscription data. Okay, I'm directly calling it here. So in fact you can call it, so initial idea was to call it here. Okay, so you can either do it here or inside this function. So this is what I am trying to do. In fact, I can take this out, take this particular guy out, and put it here. Okay, and once I do this, so now this guy, that is generate user report guy, doesn't know about subscription data. So now he will be thinking that where is my subscription data. So what I should do is I should pass it as a parameters. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. Subscription. It automatically suggests you the variable names. So now I have changed the code, so I have to make sure that this works. Okay, so subscription data takes input data, which is coming from the first function we did. So now we have put it in a sequence. So that is why I put it here In fact, you can call it anywhere, but just to not to break our design, I'm putting it here. And once I get the subscription data, I have changed the function signature or the function parameters here. So I'll pass subscription data here as well, so that this guy knows what is subscription data. Okay, now, okay, this is connected, so this is a report and this is connected. So now let us try to run it again. Okay, so this small activity what we did, it is also called as refactoring. So this is very small example, but when you have a lot of files and you are finding out common duplicated code, you can put it into a function and then you can make it as a library. So this kind of activities are called as refactoring. Okay, so 23 trigger. Okay, there is the error. So it takes, okay, it doesn't take anything because it knows where to read the data. Because this is an independent module. Okay, so this is an independent module, it doesn't take anything, so it just reads the file and gives. Okay, now we have connected the dots correctly, so it doesn't, we haven't broken it. So let us look at the print statements that we put in the first class. Okay, getting input from API data, that's good. And then creating XLX, getting subscriber data is done. And then getting user report done. So creating XLS, and then we are just printing it, and then sending mail, which is yet to be done. Okay, so that we will study in the next class, what is mail and how to send the mail. So that is about it. So let me write it as step number 5. I just put comments. Get user interested states. Okay, so let me just uncomment this. So let me just clean up all of this input data case. I don't want this, I will take this away. This is our first this one. So I'll go to each function and then see if there are any print statements which I need to remove. Okay, so do I need to have this print statement? Okay, so I don't need this print statements, so correcting news is fine. Let me go back, and then let me go here. Are there any print statements, unnecessary print statements? No. That is fine. I will search for print. I'm just cleaning up the code. So this is also some of the exercises that you will do after writing code. So like you have written so many in your company, maybe while automating some things, you put a lot of print statements for your experimentation, but finally you need to clean that up and make it look good. So we are removing all the unnecessary things. Okay, then this is done. Subscription data, so there is some unnecessary print. So there is here I think there is something, so I'll just print comment this. So this count is not required for me. Okay, one small concept which we were discussing yesterday. So we were trying to run this particular module independently, right? So what may happen is that just take this out. Sometimes now we have organized modules and these packages, these folders. So sometimes what you want to do is see, this is not getting called in everywhere, but it is called at only one place, that in a main function. So this particular, where did I get total number of cases. So it is if you call it outside here, what happens is every time you every time you import, the first thing that import does is it executes all the statements which are lying outside the functions. So all the global statements, it will just execute it. So that is the job of import. So why it does it is to, as you know, Python is interpreted language, so it will, we are not going to compile it and then so in the first level, whenever we import it, it is not like a .so file or something, which is a library in C++ area. So it just executes all the statements which are lying outside the function. So when you call the function in the runtime, it tries to execute the statements inside the function. Apart from that, that is why we don't call the functions outside when you are trying to make modules. So we have not called it outside. So, but in some cases, what happens is you want to verify this function. So verify this module. So inside this function module, if you call this outside, so it will get called, say if I'm calling it here without this. So what happens is we are importing this COVID stats in few places here. So it will get executed every time we import it. So that is why we do not expose that outside. Okay, like this. So that will be out of control. That means we do not expect this to execute whenever we import it. So what we do is, and sometimes we also want them to execute it, we need to execute it separately. That means as a single file, independent of this entire function. So in that cases, what I can tell Python is, okay, when you are executing it as a file, call this, or else do not call this. That means we saw that whenever we make a module, let me get into report. So there is COVID stats. Okay. So I can do COVID stats like this. So now we are not printing anything. Okay. The final count is printed. Okay, we have counted all the. So the parameter is Karnataka and this one. So how it, but if I call it here, it is not getting executed automatically. That means while importing it gets called, so it doesn't get called. So the idea is, okay, when you are trying to run it as a file, call it, but when you import it, do not call it. So to have this kind of control, so this statement, that is if name is equal to main, that means why we are using it double underscore. So whenever you see double underscore, you think that, let me show you the actual this one, so that you know what happens internally. So let me try to, from pdb import set trace as bp. So it's just a bp is just a variable now. So we learned about aliases. Okay, so what is happening here is okay, I am at this this line, interpreter instruction pointer is pointing to this. So let me look at this particular. Okay. So what does this mean? Is when I'm executing, so this module gets executed. So this module, when it is getting executed as a separate file, so it will have the name. That means this name is nothing but the module name. So it will have name called as main. That means we are triggering this as a main file. So this is triggered. So when the name, this can get changed. So this variable will be assigned as a module name when you're calling it another file. So let me just go out of this. So name of this particular module while executing as a file will be named as main. That is why I'm equating that. Okay, if name is main, then call this, or else do not call this. So how does it know, or else how do we kind of know what is the file name? So let me just get out of this cd and let me call main. Okay, I am here. So if you look at name, now you can see that the name is not main. So name is actually the module's name. That means report dot covid statewise stats, that which is nothing but the module name here. Okay, so that is why we use this particular snippet, saying that only when I run this as a main file or directly I run it, call this, or else do not call this. So why it doesn't call this is because I'm already checking if it is a main module. Only then execute this. That's all. So that is why this statement is used. Okay. So we saw that this particular name will have different names depending on how we are running it. Okay. So that is about it. So that is use of this particular snippet. Actually, if you don't have to remember this particular this one, what you can do is in this, if you just simply do this, it will automatically suggest the code snippet. So it will automatically give you this snippet. So you can just use it. Okay. So that is about it. So I think that's all I had. So that was the agenda. So preparing the mail content. We have got all the contents here. So what are the contents? Let me just show you the news as well. Okay, 5 minutes late. Get the news. News is nothing but a dictionary. News map. Okay, so let me print it here. Mail content will be news map, and then the file which will attach. So and then we will also use this user state info. So these are the two printable things, because we cannot print the Excel sheet. So we can print this file name, but we are sure that it is already generated. So these two are the contents which will go. So let us look at those content. Okay, what's this? Now it is collecting news. It is scraping Deccan Herald. So today we will get today's news, whatever is published. So actually this week is like a crucial week. That is because we learned how to scrape website and how to generate Excel sheet. And then maybe next week I'll also do something related to database. It was not done in the previous class. I think someone requested, so I just wanted to give an introduction to database and connect to database and write these items into database and how to retrieve it. So that we'll do next week. We'll send mail and then we will also try to play around with databases. Okay. So this is the mail content that we have trying to print. So this is the news which is in dictionary, and this is our individual interested states. Okay. So these two things we have collected. The only next challenge is to see how do we send the mail. So this is the actual content, and plus of course this file we are going to attach. So we will learn about the mail, what is a mailbox, and so far we are using mailboxes on our mobiles and offices. We just read the mails and we reply it, but we will try to do it programmatically. Now we will learn more about mail, and after that class, whenever you see a mail, You can imagine what is in the back end. So what are the things that happens in the back end, and the mailbox is just a presentation. It's just like a plate. If you go to a restaurant, the same food is arranged in a certain fashion. It's just a presentation. But in the back, we'll go to the kitchen and look at how the things are prepared. Okay, so that is what we'll do in the next class. Okay, so that's all I had, guys. So I didn't have any. So we did all this data structure, traversing through individual mail content, and all this. So you do the same thing. Just repeat whatever I'm doing. So that should be it. So you'll face a lot of problems, because if you haven't programmed for this week, I think you'll have to spend at least half a day or a full day to do this to catch up to this level. So that is what you need to do. So let me know if you're interested on Sunday or tomorrow, if I can spend some time with you guys, and um, uh, just to help out. That's all. So it's not a class. We'll just connect, and you write a program, and if you are facing some problems, we can just connect it and then collect all the errors and put it in a document, so that it helps all of us. Okay. Let me know if you're interested, if you are free, and just ping me on WhatsApp. That should be it. So it's not a mandatory thing. So it's out of your interest. Okay. Anyways,